evening, all of you. This is Sudha Sharma, and I'm currently heading Intellectual Properties and Events for Network 18 Group globally. Network 18 is India's largest media conglomerate with brands like CNBC and CNN, which is the most followed business channel in the world. Apart from that, we have a business publication and the most respected leadership publication, Forbes. On our digital platform, we have Money Control and News18.com. Money Control is currently Asia's largest financial platform with 2 billion page views. No other site matches up to that. The Global Indian Realty Summit, for which we all of us have gathered today evening, is a concentration of powerful myth debunking knowledge series of the contemporary real estate scenario for global Indians. It is launched by News18.com in collaboration with St. Angelo's VNCT Ventures back in Mumbai for its 6th edition just day before yesterday. And today we are back on the 7th edition in London for all our NRI investors who invest back in India. We have done the stint of GIRS in Mumbai, Hyderabad, Chennai, Dubai, as well as and now in London. This is India's only platform where top game changers and kingpins like yourself have come together today to discuss the good, bad, ugly, and of real estate consolidation in India. And also a game of affordable housing, also how RERA and GST has affected the Indian real estate market. We have very eminent personalities amongst us today. All our sponsors, St. Angelo's VNCT Ventures, Asset India, Ozone Group, and our broadcasting partner News18.com, we all are delighted to have you here today. We're looking forward to some excellent insights on our panel discussions. And before we start the panel discussion, there's a very eminent personality which is present among us today, and I would like to call her Rihanna Amir. She is the first Indian-born woman to win a seat in the City of London Corporation's 950-year history. Apart from that, she is an entrepreneur in a consulting business. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rihanna.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I hope you all are enjoying your starters. Anyway, the food is really amazing. I just tasted it, and the chef has done a great job today, so thank you. So why am I here today? So I would like to, first of all, thank my friend Geeta, who got me in this evening. And it's an absolute honor and pleasure, and I'm very delighted to be here this evening today amongst my NRI friends. And I would like to thank Network 18, St. Angelo's VNCT Ventures for organizing this Global Indian Realty Summit. And events such as these are quite essential at the moment, I feel, especially with the change of economic policies and the kind of the political pressures that are there back home in India. And these events are excellent, are an excellent platform which inspires confidence, which gives you the knowledge, which gives you the awareness, and gives us the motivation to invest in India. So thank you again for the whole team to organize such a lovely event this evening. And I also see there are a panel of great minds here who are going to talk about the reality sector in India, especially after the effects of GST demonetisation and RERA, which, and again thanks to Geeta, after we had our short phone call, I did research, and it looks a bit promising. The prospects are good. There has been some short-term impacts, but I think this event today will inspire confidence, will give you the knowledge, the education, and the motivation, I would say, rather than just the confidence. You need the motivation. So you have an excellent team here who would inspire that confidence, give you that motivation to, yes, let's go invest in India. And it's not just for your own self. The investments, generally, we have the bonding where we want to do something for our families. And we have some very lovely projects in India where we call it a home, where we could give this to our families. So you're doing a business of not just like, selling homes, it's selling dreams, bonding the ties between the family, even though we are separated from families here, staying here in London. So, and I look forward for a very knowledgeable, insightful evening where I think even I would be enlightened with knowledge on understanding what the prospects look like for the Indian realty sector, and how we need to now relook at the market to see what investment opportunities we have in India. And I'm very glad. And the another important point which I wanted to highlight was I'm quite a keen promoter of building economic ties between UK and India. And I always look for opportunities for such events where I could be a part of such organizations where together we could strengthen and promote the economic ties between the two countries. So welcome everyone, and I'm looking forward to a very enjoyable, insightful evening, and hope you enjoy the evening with networking and some great food. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rihanna. Network 18 team and all our sponsors are absolutely delighted to have you here. We have another eminent personality from India here, and I would like to invite him on the podium, Mr. Prasad Lad. He's a successful entrepreneur employing more than 45,000 people in the facility management company in India. He's also involved with politics and has been an ex-Mahara chairman, which is a state minister post. He's currently a vice president of BJP in Maharashtra. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Prasad.
I am warm welcoming on behalf of the Maharashtra and India to all dignitaries to come here for the Global India Reality Summit organized by the world's largest TV channel, the News 18, and the St. Angelo Vincent joint venture. Now the India and the Maharashtra also are very secured for the real estate business. After the RERA and the GST and the all permissions under the one roof, I hope it will the best thing to develop the properties in Mumbai and the Maharashtra, and definitely it's create a globally a financial wizard market in the world. And I'm again, as Rihanna says, she is hoping that India will be the best country in the world for the investment for the real estate. I am promising you in 2019 or completion of the Modi government, I hope that India will be the most financial secured country for the investors, for the businessmen in the world. I am again thanking Mr. Rajesh to give me opportunity for this summit, welcoming you, all of the dignitaries to come here for the program. I am again inviting you for the Mumbai and Maharashtra. Thank you very much. Thank you, TV18. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ladd. We are more than delighted to have you here. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to invite one of the most eminent personality of the television space, especially from the real estate. She needs no introduction, Manisha Natarajan. Manisha Natarajan is the group editor of real estate and urban development of Network 18. She is currently hosting 2 primetime shows on CNBC TV 18 on urban reality and first-time home buyer. Please welcome Manisha Natarajan.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I think Rihanna stole my opening lines, which was a home away from home. So I'm not going to add to that. Her speech pretty much set the ground, and on economic growth, I think Mr. Lal's also opening speech set the ground. We could just say that it's amazing to be in this city. Everyone who's lived here understands what London offers, but then if you have families behind, or if you have relatives behind, or even any attachment in India, you always are wondering, should I pick up a property there? Should I really buy real estate? Now, the good and the bad of Indian real estate, one has seen unfolding. Now, of course, we are sitting at the cusp of a very different sort of economic growth. I mean, there have been structural changes, almost mini tsunamis or earthquakes, as you can call. But as these moving parts align themselves, you will see a very different India, and the opportunities, whether it's real estate and other investments, probably, I'm hoping, we are all hoping, isn't it, will be very different, and you may want to be a part of that new history or economic history that we are hoping we will create as a country. I'm going to call upon my panelists today. What are we going to discuss? Well, we've set a tone and we've said, okay, let's just look at property markets with the new economic reality and the new economic prospects of our country. Having said that, there are many, many subparts of it. We will delve a little bit upon RERA and GST because these are important for you to understand how have they changed the dynamics of Indian real estate and what has it done, I mean, to prices and of course to the legality of buying real estate in India. Then we will go on to discuss what is happening to property markets in various pockets of India, which are the markets you can look at if you have investment in mind, and of course if you have to buy property for somebody back home, then you will go with a basic criteria of where your family is. And then finally, what happens to India? I mean, what's everybody's bet when it comes to India's economic growth, because real estate is very closely related to economic growth. So I hope you will enjoy it. We will not try and make it very serious, though the subject is quite serious, and when it comes to big checks, well, it had better be serious. We will try and keep it a little bit light as well, and hopefully you will enjoy it as much as I will with my panelists. Let me first call on stage, obviously always gorgeous ladies first, Geeta Nagu, who's the founder and managing director of Sun Industries and Sun Investments. May we also have on stage Srinivasan Gopalan, CEO of the Ozone Group. Angelo Rajesh, our partners in this series of GIRS, Chairman of St. Angelo, VNCT Ventures. Virendra Adhikari, Business Head of Asset India. And Ravindra Kumar, Legal Associate, Singhania & Co, LLP, London. All right, real estate. Now, I'm going to start with something very emotional. What does owning a real estate really mean to you? Ravindra, let's start with that. I mean, what does owning a real estate really mean to you?
In India, it's a dream.
It's a dream.
It's a dream.
Absolutely.
In India, it's a dream.
So, in India, it's a dream to own a property.
I think it gives us a great sense of security to have a home, you know.
Social security. All right. Your association. One line. Not a very long. I know that you can actually talk 1 hour on it, but...
Well, that's your psychological backup of whatever you are created.
All right, psychological backup. Srini.
Owning a home is good for developers like us, so please keep doing that.
Buy gold and home. Now, it's part of the DNA.
That you know, I was quite surprised to know that it's not just Indians. Even in UK, owning a home is very high. Buying property is actually the first investment that every family, even in United, not every family, but a majority of families in United Kingdom. We all know that there's been a big shift in India's real estate and India's economy as well. So I'm going to come to each one of you and get your impressions on what do you feel today about both RERA and GST and what it has done to Indian real estate? And of course, we are forgetting demonetisation, but that was also an important part. Srini, can we start with you?
I think, first of all, the fundamentals have to be good. The fundamentals of the country, I think the country is in safe hands.
So you flipped my discussion, huh? You started with economic growth.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there is a fundamental thing that is required which is in place. So I'll leave the rest to you.
Okay.
With GST and RERA, I think more of it is RERA for our industry. RERA ensures that the business should be done the way it was always supposed to be done. Unfortunately, real estate, the business was being done very different from what general business is to be done. For example, when you do business, you have to be truthful. I mean, that was not being done in real estate, and that's all RERA says. The next thing it says is whatever you collect money for, please use it for that purpose. So again, this is there in every other business other than real estate. So I think whatever was unstructured, what RERA does is it just puts things into perspective and says that this is how you should have been done. We should have been doing business. Please start doing business in that manner. So that gives a lot of comfort to people who invest in real estate. So this is revolutionary. 90% of the people were not doing what they were supposed to. Now 100% of the people will have to follow what we are supposed to. So I think it's a very good thing. As far as GST is concerned, I think that's purely a cost impact on real estate, where all those places where land cost is very high, the impact of GST is not very much.
Wherever the land cost is low, like places like Bangalore or Pune, the impact of GST could be between 1% to 5% depending upon which price bracket you are in. Both of these are completely revolutionary. Keep investing in real estate, keep buying real estate, keep gifting real estate to everybody. This is the best time.
All right. Rajesh, your impressions of RERA. I think he summed it up very well. He said finally you have to do your business honestly and truthfully, which was pretty much missing. It was an unregulated market, 76,000 builders. The number was even shocking to me. I don't know if any one of you knew there were 76,000 builders in India. So it's a big country and the number is not astounding, but the fact that it was unregulated for all these many years as people were buying is something which was quite shocking. I mean, and people were investing the largest chunk of their savings, at least if you're living in India, it's the biggest asset that you will acquire in a lifetime for most Indians. And it was unregulated. So that game has shifted dramatically and for the better.
Well, these are the best times for Indian economy because any developing country like India, infrastructure and housing are the most critical elements of any country, and that's now getting more accountable and people are being monitored for this industry. Like Srini said, this was one of the most less monitored industry from the government angle. What the customer used to generally suffer on was on the grounds of quality of the structure he booked and the delivery period. Both these elements now with this new regulation of RERA coming in, which has been implemented in India, these two aspects are assured and customer always suffered on the quality part and the delivery part, which will now be taken care by RERA. So this kind of accountability has increased the confidence of buyers, not only Indian buyers within the country, but also NRIs who are investing back home, either for their own investments in real estate in India or for their near and dear ones who are staying back home. So there is a lot of change which has happened in the last few months. Lot of NRIs, there are more than 3 crore NRIs across the world as far as India is concerned, and all of them today are looking towards India as a great investment destination because that is where the real estate prices grow. It has been stagnant for the last 2-3 years though, but because of these new regulations coming in, a lot of things are being changing. So I think this is a very positive move. The financial industry is supporting real estate big time, with a lot of banking industries supporting the buyers' decisions and funding them pretty liberally, and including the rates of the loans coming down, which is again a great motivation for people investing in real estate currently in India.
All right, Ravinder, I'm going to come to you. Are you comfortable with all the RERA provisions? So because it was a central rule and then states were asked, okay, fine, adopt it as it is, but most of them have made some changes. But for new projects, do you think RERA pretty much covers and completely guarantees the safety of the product and its delivery to the customer?
Yeah, it's a relatively new legislation. It needs to pass test of time. All the states, they are doing it, and what I see is from RERA is that it fixes accountability and it provides a mechanism to enforce that accountability. So that gives a lot of confidence. Initially, when the consumer were not sure if the builder doesn't deliver on time, what will happen? Now they have answers.
So from a legal perspective, you feel that it's a foolproof law?
It's effective.
It's a foolproof law. All right. So that's RERA for you. Makes the market much safer. But then Rajesh just touched upon that point of prices. Now prices have been stagnant for the last 3 years. Is that good or is that not so good? Virender.
Yeah, I think you have, that's one of the toughest question today, because every time whenever you're buying any asset, the big question is two, actually. Is it the right time and is it the right price? I think if you really look at in last couple of years, prices have not moved northward. Yeah, they have remained there, or they have seen a correction of 5 to 10% downward. Now, there are recent report shows that there are a lot of supply. But what I look at as of now is that, if you look at India's macro, they are in place. There is huge population which is still waiting to have their first home. In fact, the recent cabinet decision to look at changing the affordable housing definition is a move in that direction, that where, the areas have been increased now. So we see there are a lot of people who are waiting to buy their houses, but the big question in their mind is maybe, they are waiting for a little bit price correction or a little bit lowering the interest rate. So if both of these things happen, I think the demand can again pick up and prices can rise northward.
You think, Srini, that that's likely to happen? Prices correct more and interest rates come down more? I mean, that seems like a fantastic opportunity for everyone to jump in. But will it happen? In fact, looking at inflation, which has gone up a little bit, now there are murmurs and conversations that there is no room for interest rates at least to come down. But for middle income group and affordable housing anyway, the interest subvention makes it quite reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, let's not look at only interest rate. Now let's look at where is the real estate today.
Yeah.
Exactly 12 months from November 8th, right? We had a triple whammy. We had a demonetization, we had an implementation issue on GST, though GST as such is a great thing for the country.
Yes.
And RERA. All three coming in, today the prices are at rock bottom. I mean, with due respects, I mean, last 2 years, 3 years, the prices have not gone up. Now, no investor can buy at the least and sell at the best, right? So I think today, you look at the kind of offers that are there in the market. You pay 1% and you get an asset. Today, an iPhone 10 costs 1,05,000 rupees, whereas you can buy a house by paying 75,000 rupees down payment and own a house. So these are the offers that you are getting in the market. Do your due diligence. There are laws in place. Everything is in place right now. So this is the best time for you to actually take a jump in. I don't think prices will go down further because there is no room. I know what is the bottom line that we are facing on a day-to-day basis. So we are concentrating on cash flows today rather than profitability. So make use of it. And this is the best time for you to actually enter into real estate. As far as interest rates are concerned, every 25 basis points is like 1,000 rupee in the EMI. I mean, it's more of sentiment rather than the real value to a customer. So I think best time is to get in as of today.
So prices, that's the fact that they haven't, the way I look at it, and this is my own analysis, the fact that prices haven't moved is actually great for the customer because either you're getting a discount or you're getting fabulous offers from the builders, making it actually probably 15 to 20% cheaper than what you would have bought at the peak. And that's also happened, isn't it, Geeta, because the speculative element is out of the market. That, people would just buy and want to sell it in 3 months and make a quick buck. Now that's out and that's also rationalized prices. Your buyers who come to you right now, are they comfortable with the prices where they bottomed out?
Yes. It's no more a speculative market. The flipping game is out. You don't buy to flip. And this is the best buyer's market. And as Srini was saying, the price is at the rock bottom. The buyers know it. And it cannot go further down. And this is the best time to buy. And with your inflation at 6% and your rates being at this and your interest rates coming down, you don't need a better reason to buy. And what would happen is with RERA in place and with stock coming down and the stock coming under RERA coming down and demand and supply being the same, then the demand being the same and the supply will reduce in the market. And RERA coming in today is very, very conducive for NRIs and for all buyers to buy because it's a buyer's market also. Buyers are 100% protected. So when the demand is going to be the same and the supply is going to reduce in some time, the prices are going to scale up. So we are on an upward curve. It's a matter of 6 to 9 months. So now is the price is at the rock bottom. And
so this is something that everybody asks. How do we know this is the rock bottom? Rajesh, you want to take that question?
Well, that is a question which nobody can answer because property, whenever the fun part of property is, whenever you buy, you feel you could have got it a little cheaper. But 2 to 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, you consider that was the best decision of your life. Secondly, majority of the people buy properties with bank loans. And the best part about properties is when you pay an installment, the value of the money keeps depreciating every day. Whereas the value of the assets never depreciate, especially in a growing country like India. Any regulation, when any country adapts to any regulation, the current stock will be available at the cheapest price. So the stock which is available today is available at a price which will not be available tomorrow because regulations makes the product expensive. The more number of regulations that come in, the product is going to get more expensive by anywhere between 5% to 15%, which is a huge discount on the property value today. the appreciation of the assets in the coming years, the format is going to change because there is going to be steady supply over a period of time, and RERA will ensure that the supply does take time since clearances is going to take longer than what it used to happen previously. When the supply is getting regulated in terms of short supply, the demand would be there, and there would be always a scenario in urban cities especially where the neighbor will always want to give you a premium. So that will not be a standard market standard in terms of appreciation of the asset. But when a neighbor wants to buy, definitely there is an appreciation to the seller. So in congested cities, appreciation will always happen in existing living complexes, whereas the new complexes will always have a price increment since a lot of government taxes keep appreciating as with the time passage. So asset buying, the right time is the moment you think you should buy. You should not delay it with an expectation that it is going to get you are going to get a reduction in the price.
Well, data at least indicates, and I'm just going to share with the audience here that, so you have a situation where sales have fallen to 5-year lows in India because of all these changes which have happened. But last month, this was the very first month that despite sales falling, new launches have actually fallen below the sales. So this is a really important aspect which anybody who's buying needs to understand. Yes, there is an excess supply right now, but that inventory is slowly and steadily coming down, because if you're even in slow sales, if your monthly sales exceed your new inventory launches, then you know that now the curve is moving towards the fact that your excess inventory, which is there in the market, is a matter of time when it will get absorbed. So I think mathematically that cross which has happened, at least we are looking at it very excitingly, finally saying that look, there could be now a curve which could see asset prices bottoming out and it going up. But having said that, now let's move on to the fact that, look, there are two ways in which you buy real estate. One is your family lives there, you want to gift them, or there are some memories attached for you in a particular hometown. So then you can, of course, go to people like Virender and ask him, in this city, what are my best options? But then if you could also want to look at it as an investment, you have a connect at home, you want to bet in UK market, you also want to take some bets with India market. How would you suggest, if somebody came to you, do they always come to you with a city in mind, or do they come to you and say, all right, I'm interested in this particular market, this micro market, give me an option?
So, we classify the buyers or investor into 3 categories. One is the pure speculator, which like Geeta said, they're out of the market. They generally enter into a property when it is pre-launch or launch stage and then exit before it gets ready. And second is category is the investor, which basically they buy during the under construction and then they hold it or rent it for some time, and they may stay in it for future. And the third category is pure self-use. So if you look at NRI market particularly, we will see more buyers or investors in the first 2 category. And but looking at the returns which we have got in last couple of years, speculators are no more in the market. I think the only category which is left is the investors who are basically buying it for their own use in future, and also looking at the capital appreciation or rental yield. Now, coming to the question which you said, which city they particularly talk about. See, everybody belongs to a particular region, and we know like in north, you have Noida, Gurgaon, which are doing great. And if you come to west, you have Mumbai and Pune, which are the favorites. If you go to south, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, these 3 cities are showing promising return for the future. Now, basis where you come from, there is always a bias towards the region. But in particular region, we see that most of the demand is focused or concentrated towards these particular 8 cities which we have taken the name of. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, 80% of India's real estate in top 8 cities.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Pretty much follows
Also-
the trend.
also I would like to-
Do they make up their mind on the micro market? Is
No,
what I'm saying.
not really.
So
For micro
that
market-
that is very different for
For-
NRIs versus
Yeah.
if you're an Indian buyer.
Yeah.
If you're an Indian buyer, you would probably go by the geography that your workspace is, because you would want to be closer to your workspace. As an NRI, you would probably just choose a city and say, all right, give me the best growing real estate market which has a great future outlook. Srini, what would you advise them? I mean, how do you really zero in on good hubs? So there are so many, let's say Bangalore, let's take a city like Bangalore. There's so many upcoming markets, it's growing on all sides. What would your advice be? What should people really look at?
You know, basically you have to look at the economic drivers there. So for example, if it's Bangalore and the fastest growing area in Bangalore is the north because of the airport which is there and all the infrastructure is towards the north. And if you look at how the floods really affected Bangalore, I mean, these are important factors that you need to keep in mind when you're really investing in real estate, and especially when you're agnostic on the micro market. So you just say that Bangalore mein se mujhe kuch de do. So it's not, you're not buying kuch de do. You're actually wanting to see which is that location which will actually yield you maximum appreciation. So I think if it's Bangalore, keep the value drivers in mind, economic drivers in mind. Then I would say if it's Bangalore, it's towards the north. If it's Mumbai, then it's very important to see the hubs like Chembur. Chembur in the last 2 to 3 years have really gone big, mainly because of the SCLR coming in, and there is a freeway which connects it to the city, as well as Vashi becomes extremely nearby. So Chembur itself has seen serious amount of growth when compared to any other part of Mumbai. So it's important that you have a dialogue, keep your eyes and ears open and see for economic growth and value drivers that are.
Ozone as a project in both these markets? Totally.
No, Chembur we don't have.
You don't have Chembur?
No, we don't have it in Chembur.
God.
So
I was just thinking. I'm just pulling your leg. No.
But north of Bangalore we do have.
North of Bangalore you have. North of Bangalore is a big territory that you've outlined. I'm sure, you know, there are many other projects and several projects from Hebbal to Yelahanka. I would agree that. I mean, what as a real estate, understanding that I have, I always see where is a lot of office space coming up. Because, you know, per square foot of office area, those many residences will be needed. And I think it's pretty easy, isn't it, Rajesh, to follow that kind of news flow. To find out, okay, I mean, here you have an IKEA taking something in close to high-tech city in Hyderabad. So, boom, there you go. It's an easy decision that if you're looking at Hyderabad, then you probably could even take IKEA and say a 5-kilometer radius. Does that work?
It does work. There are some basic criteria that you need to calculate when you invest in a real estate. For example, for 70 to 80 square feet of office space, you need 1,000 square feet of a residential unit. These are some of the drivers where you'll come to know where a residential apartment should be invested in. The second driver is being developers. We have come out with a model where the buyer needs to get advantage of the investment he is making. So the thought process that we cultivated in the last 2-3 years was, where can we give independent villas with the land ownership, where the villa can come to the price of a flat within 30 kilometers radius. And we created this as a business model, and on the outskirts of cities like Mumbai, like Hyderabad, like Chennai, like Madurai, we created villas where the primary most dream of any human being is to own his own land, which houses his house on the land. So we created those kind of opportunities where the investor, he buys the land with the house today at the price of a flat, which is nearby, closer to the city, and that property appreciation is much higher than any flat can ever appreciate. So we tried that route, and we have realized that there are a lot of keen buyers who love this model. And we say that you are used to buying a flat where you don't own the land because you can't plant your private tree, and you can't fly your own kite because the terrace doesn't belong to you. It is a society's terrace. You have to do it collectively. We came up with a concept that you buy a villa where you own the land, where you can plant your own tree, where you have a roof which belongs to you and you can fly your own kite. That theme worked well, and outskirts of metro cities are the best growth hubs. For example, in Mumbai, 40 years back in Juhu, the property which was purchased at 1.5 lakh rupees in Indian rupees, 1.5 lakh rupees, is today selling at 35 to 40 crores in 40 years. Similarly, and Juhu was 40 years back, outskirts of Mumbai. The outskirts of Mumbai from Juhu shifted to Mira Road. Mira Road today, 1 BHK will cost you 1 crore. Mira Road shifted to Virar. Virar has gone to a place called Bhainder. Similarly, every urban city has got this kind of progressions, and the scalability of the investment, the capital invested is huge, and it is common sense that land appreciates faster than a flat. land with a house will definitely appreciate faster than a flat. So we concentrated this kind of developments which have benefited the investors.
That's an interesting concept as well. Just owning the piece of land. In fact, I would say that NRIs who have some thought of going back home and retiring, then that model really works. And even today, I know that a lot of venture capitalists and a lot of NRIs who've returned to Bangalore are actually not staying in the center of Bangalore. They've taken villas which is outside of Bangalore. They're willing to travel 20 kilometers just to have that, a garden around their house and that privacy which comes with an independent villa. Would you agree, Ravinder? I mean,
Yes, I absolutely agree.
That's another model to look at. That you look at. So if you're looking at flats and apartments, go with economic hubs, and if you're looking at larger plots of villas and a different lifestyle,
Yeah, larger
then you
plots
will
are
have to
always
go
a better
outside.
choice these days
Yeah.
for NRIs. They want to have more space, they want to have more privacy. That's always a better choice.
But in terms of just looking at areas, do you have some idea in terms of which are the best growing markets, or what are the factors which really affect real estate growth as an investment?
I'm not the right person. I'm a lawyer.
Legal,
I'm a
yeah.
lawyer.
Okay. I thought maybe you made some good amount of money in a couple of real estate investments you flipped. So I thought you would share some personal nuances with us. All right. So that's how you pick the right asset in India. I mean, these are the two sitting duck criterias. They're easy to apply. Now let's move on to the third very important aspect. I mean, India's growth itself. How confident are you? So everybody in UK has also gone through a tsunami here, right? Brexit. And I remember a couple of weeks after Brexit, there was every negative story on real estate. It was like people have stopped buying real estate and prices in London are going to crash. Have any prices in London crashed? No. I mean, if you're really in zone 1, zone 2, the market is stabilized again. So, and there are certain pockets which will not go down, but there are certain pockets which will get affected with economic growth. If you're punting on India, I think the basic thing is that you must have confidence in what our government is doing right now and whether you believe that will accelerate the economic growth. Srini, first to you. I know you started on that thought, but...
No, I am a very bullish person, and that's why I'm a developer. So we always believe that things will be good.
No, but what does being a developer have to do with being bullish?
No, because in our DNA, we always believe that the price is going to go up tomorrow.
Okay.
So that keeps us going. So first is, I think the country is in safe hands. I am a big follower of Modi, and I think he has the vision. We have some issues on implementation, which will get fixed. I mean, this is the first term. We'll give him 2 more chances.
2 more?
Yeah,
I
believe 2019 is with BJP for sure.
2019 is given. I'm surprised that it's going to happen.
No, I think
5 years later.
I think there is a thought process which is in the right direction. That if there is someone who's working for 18 hours a day, must be doing something, right?
At least he's working.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I go to the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, and there's so much work happening, and I've been following that industry for a long time.
Right.
So I can see the perceptible change in terms of even the bureaucrats working.
So you have seen the ease of doing business index. You have seen the Moody's rating. So things are getting back in place. There have been changes in the policy which obviously will have some short-term impact. Like GST, I think the discussion on television saying that GST is right or wrong is not a discussion to have.
No, nobody's having that discussion.
Yeah, I
it's
think
just the implementation pains are probably way more than what everyone
It's just the
imagined.
implementation pain. We have that even at home when we change the rules and regulations. So that's going to be there. So I'm extremely bullish that we will be at 8.5% very, very soon. So once you have that, the biggest contributor there is real estate. So around 10 to 12% of the entire GDP comes from real estate, and real estate supports more than 300 industries along with that. So the outlook is extremely positive. Things will come back to shape, and we should be looking at a real good growth rate. And the second biggest advantage that we have is the population, right? Every 6th person in the world is an Indian.
That's scary.
So that's good. In fact, that's good. When I was learning economics at my time, I'm really old now. At that point in time, population was one of the biggest negatives. And today, if you look at any MNC which is coming in, it is coming only to feed us. Right from Coke, Pepsi, or anything that you take, they see the population and come in. So I am extremely bullish about the Indian economy, and we have only the best things to see. We are the fastest growing economy in the world, and we will continue to be there for the next 15 to 20 years.
Absolutely. So as long as housing can be a consumption play, I think it's going to do extremely well. And with affordable housing, that's what's happening.
Roti, kapda, makan. Right? So we fall under the basic necessity. Shelter is a basic necessity. So we are there. Till now, people were making a 50 crore product. Now, the government wants us to make a 5 lakh rupee product. So I think once we have the policies and implementation and we get through all these teething problems, we will have, I think the second oldest profession, I don't want to name the first, is housing, right? Right from Stone Age, we have been building something to stay in. So we are here to stay and we are here to grow significantly.
So you're very confident of the Indian economy's growth?
200%.
Trajectory. What about you, Rajesh?
Well, like Srini said, every sixth man on planet Earth is an Indian, which is a very powerful thing to say. India is the largest growing middle class population. India is the youngest population. The government wants to have 5 crore houses built by 2022, which will ensure that maximum number of Indians get a comfortable shelter above their heads. Economy is multiplying, not developing, multiplying. The rest of the world looks at India as a land of opportunities. And I would be very happy saying that the rest of the world will develop India as a country, because that is where their investments will grow. What happened to China a couple of years back, it's now overdeveloped, is going to happen to India, because a developing country gives you growth in the capital. It not only gives growth in the investments that you make in terms of stocks or stock markets or any other business models, but also it gives you growth in the investments that has been made in the infrastructure and the housing sector. So these are very promising days. By 2050, India is going to be a dramatically different country. Irrespective of which government rules it, there is a very powerful government now which has a majority. So they are taking the right and the best decisions, which is instilling the confidence of the NRIs and the foreign investors, FDIs, to invest into India. I will always say that the company which wants to sell the car will build the road in India. They will invest in the infrastructure so that more cars can get sold. And that is what is driving the economy of this country. India is a very, very hungry market. It is showing growth like no other country can show in today's times. So I think these are very, very promising days. The income of people in India is changing. 25 years back, 10 people family, 1 man earning. Today, 4 people family, 2 people earning. 4 people family, all 4 earning. So the revenue streams have changed, and everybody in India back home wishes to 3 very important aspects: buying a home, doing a great marriage, and buying a car. So I think these are the drivers, motivating drivers for them to generate more revenue in the family, and this collective revenue is making them buy homes and other aspects which give them comforts in life.
Well, buying a home and buying a marriage seems to be connected. In fact, at the cost of repeating myself, in the show that I do, we invite questions, and there was this young man who wrote in and he said, I'm earning XYZ amount, and this is the net after I spend on my daily living. I want to get married, I want to buy a house. So we wrote back to him and saying, dude, your salary is not looking big enough to buy a house right now and also get married, because your expenses will go up. So he writes back and he says, I'm really sorry, in my community, if I do not have a home, we do not get married. So
that is really a good news.
This is very good news.
I think the government should make it as a rule in India.
That's it, then all of them are home. No, but just coming to you, what sense do you get from NRIs when they look at India? Are they feeling that new confidence with the new government, the structural changes that we just discussed, and India's economic future?
If you
do they consider it at all, or do they just buy as an emotional decision? I think that is the right question to ask you.
I feel all the investor community, who's living abroad, looks at all these factors. Yeah, emotionally there will be very less segment who only decides on emotional factor. But I think NRI fraternity here always looks at these macros of the country and as well as what's happening on the ground in India. And if you talk to most of the people today, I think all of them are very happy about what's happening currently in India, the reforms which are taking place. If you talk about RERA, if you talk about GST, if you talk about the new insolvency code, I think that's why the India's ranking ease of business, doing business has come to 100. Yeah, so they're very happy. But I think they are currently in wait and watch mode because of what's happening on the prices front and also what's happening on the supply as well as the demand front. I think all of them are waiting for demand to really tick up, and they then basically chasing India as investing more and more there or allocating more monies to real estate as asset class. I think a lot of them as of now are looking at equity, which is giving equity markets which are giving tough competition to real estate in terms of what returns they have given in last 2 years. So they're very positive, but I think they are really holding their money in their pocket as of now and really waiting for some uptick on the demand, like what you said last. I think when you're talking about when prices bottom out, I think that's a brilliant question. And I look at that from being a student of economics, that when new supply addition is not happening, or there is very less new supply happening, that means a lot of builders or a lot of developers know that the new addition is not really going to make me any money. I think that is when really we can say that the bottom has approached or is about to approach. And that is when I think a lot of investor community should start looking at the opportunities, because if you start looking at opportunities today, I'm sure you also take considerable time in deciding which opportunities and which projects or which micro markets, and that is where people like us really can help you in understanding the micro markets, understanding which cities are going to grow. So I feel they are ready and they are looking at India very closely, but maybe they are just waiting for certain uplift on the demand.
Absolutely. So it's very simple, because stock markets are now racing ahead. They're on a high. Everybody wants to get into the game. Even if, people are saying it's property, valuations, there are certain companies. People are not willing to buy a house today, but they're willing to buy the stocks of the companies, because real estate index has gone up by 250%, right, in 1 year. So I'm just wondering, how is that possible? Because everybody is hoping that all of this inventory which is there with the developers will now start seeing a pickup, and therefore the numbers will change, isn't it? So it's a curious time to be in, but then, Geeta, it's when the chips are down, it's the smart guys who go out and look for great deals, isn't it? Because once the market starts booming again,
100%.
then you don't call the shots, the buyers don't call the shots at all.
No, with RERA coming, the buyers call the shots all the time. But this is the best buyer's market. You wouldn't want to lose. And real estate is absolutely risk-free if you look at it, Manish. In stock market, there is a risk which is riding on your whatever. But in real estate in India, absolutely there is no risk. And with Sri Modi ji's government, his scheme is putting roof on every Indian's head. And affordable segment is the next segment which is going to be the most happening thing. And in suburbs, and the ticket size of 40 to 60 lakhs, and those are all the things which is going to really shoot up now.
Well, we hope so. So seems like we are on a strong footing when it comes to India. I would say that we are quite excited that once the pains of GST settle down, with the bankruptcy code coming in, asset banks getting recapitalized, which was the biggest pain point. And an interesting aspect is that recently, and we broke the news, IFC joined up with HDFC to float a $800 million bond for housing in India. So, these are some of the signs where, so for the longest time, money was moving to commercial, right? Most foreign money which came to commercial. But this news which happened 2 days ago, in fact we broke it on the channel, that IFC is now with HDFC floating masala bonds to fund Indian real estate and residential, I think to me seems like a turning point as well when it comes to long-term financing by foreign investors. So those investors are sensing an opportunity, and I think it's a great time to go out there and at least narrow down. The other aspect which none of the builders will accept, but being a journalist I have to tell you this, what is happening is that builders now don't have any room to cut prices anymore. They're really left with 8%, 10%, maximum 10% sort of bottom line. Gone are the days when they would make 30 to 35% sort of profitability. What they're doing is to keep the ticket size affordable, they're shrinking the size of the house. Of course, they're doing it smartly in the sense the spaces are designed well. But you know, if you really want a good choice, a location of your choice and also size of your choice and space of your choice, I think you should, and if you've got some thought of buying real estate in India, it's a great time to start looking, is definitely my advice to everybody. But I'm going to, if anybody has a concluding comment to make, I think we've spoken about everything else, but Ravinda, if you have anything else to add, if we've missed out something, please go ahead.
Everything is, yes, we covered almost everything. Only thing is this, RERA has now instilled a lot of confidence on people from outside India. Because in countries like UK, the real estate sector is very much organized. And initially people were a bit hesitant in buying or investing in property when there was no such regulations. But this regulations now has instilled a lot of confidence in it.
Alright, so there goes a lawyer who says, now your money in real estate in India is safe.
Yeah, if people come to me, I will be able to answer them that look, there is a regulation.
Yeah.
You have a recourse. Yeah. Initially there was recourse, very lengthy recourses and not so effective.
Anything that
Well, I would like to educate everybody here about a part of RERA which is very critical for any investor to invest in a country like India. The biggest challenge in India was the developer was getting money from the flat buyer or the house buyer and investing it into other projects, and when those projects got stuck, every project got stuck and the buyer got stuck. The best part about RERA is now controlling the money of the flat buyer, the house buyer. The withdrawal of the money gets deposited in a escrow account, and the withdrawal can happen by the developer only when 3 people sign: the structural engineer, the architect and the chartered accountant. The chartered accountant cannot be the chartered accountant of the developer. He has to be an external consultant. When these 3 people sign, only then money gets withdrawn. That too, the money withdrawn can be used only for the development of the project. What that money can do is also being defined. It can be used for paying the landlord, it can be used to pay a loan related to the project, and it can be used majorly for the construction activity of the project. Even marketing and advertising and sales brokerage is not covered in that 70%. 30% of the balance money of the buyer is withdrawn by the developer after the project is completed, handed over, occupation certificate is achieved, then he can withdraw the profit. So it has completely restricted the use of funds, which ensures that there will be money balance to complete the project on time, because every project today by RERA rule has to give a definitive time when the project will be delivered. There is no compromise on that. Extension is allowed for maximum of 1 time, that too for a maximum period of 1 year. So all this kind of facility by the RERA has really ensured that the money of the investor, the home buyer, is 100% secured, and the developer has to give a undertaking, a notary undertaking, what do you call that, affidavit to the banker that every rupee withdrawn is being used for the development of the project only. So he is under oath. And every buyer today is a cop who can complain to the RERA department if the developer has deviated, although there is no scope, because now professionals for the first time have been legally made accountable by making sure that they give the certificates which will help them to withdraw the money. I think this is the golden period for the real estate sector in a country like India, and like London, even the Indian properties are going to be as expensive down the lines, purely because as safer it becomes, more expensive it gets.
Yeah. And I'll just add that there are penal provisions in RERA Act if anyone defaults. So that gives more confidence that.
The penal provisions till yesterday were only civil, and now it is criminal.
It's criminal.
So the penal provisions are not only penalties but also imprisonment. And the imprisonment, the cops are super happy to arrest developers who have defaulted, and they are just waiting for the owners or the buyers to make a complaint. They don't even bother and understand RERA. They just want to go and arrest the developer. Now this is positive for the buyer market. This is very, very positive. So this law is like a TADA law. TADA is the Terrorist and Disruptive Arms Act in India. It's as equal to the TADA law. And this has instilled confidence, because of which NRIs from all across the world are highly investing in India as a country.
Well,
I think, can you top that, Srini? Even I'm left speechless. I'm saying, okay, do I need to ask another question or should I just thank everybody here?
I think what RERA has done is it has ensured that there is an entry barrier into this profession. Earlier, anybody who had a land became a developer. Today, there is a lot of consolidation which is happening. A lot of stuck projects are coming to the larger developers, which is again a good thing. So if any of your projects are stuck, I mean, there is a consolidation which is happening as of today. And the number of developers are reducing drastically. So every day we receive at least 5 to 7 proposals of taking over a current project, which is again good news. So projects which were getting stuck will get started again, and there will be a difference between the men and the boys in the real estate. So so I think that's extremely important. Consolidation has happened in every industry, and this industry will go through that as well. So when there is consolidation and when there is an entry barrier, there is going to be a serious restriction on supply, whereas the demand is always there in India. We'll be the #1 populated country very soon. So the demand will be there, the prices will go up, but don't buy real estate only looking at capital appreciation. There are several factors that you need to look at. Please look at it. RERA per se does not absolve you from anything. You still have to, buyer beware. You still need to keep your eyes and ears open. Look at the track record of the developer. I think that's the most important. The financial position, because even under RERA, when you disclose something, it is only for that SPV, right? So you don't really know what are his other projects and how are they doing, etc. And we are very clever in doing all of this when it comes to disclosure. So keep the basics right, ensure that you invest with developers who have a track record, and talk to the bankers. They will give you the right perspective about a developer. Ultimately, you are investing into a developer. Once you do that,
bankers available to buyers?
Sorry?
Shrini, where are the bankers available to buyers to speak
No, why
to?
not? Every project that you buy, you take a loan. Don't put in your own money.
I don't want to open the Pandora's box on that
Why
one.
you can open the Pandora's box. Let's have a discussion on that.
You want to have a slugfest on that?
No, I
Well,
don't.
there are several projects which are pathetically delayed in NCR where all the banks had approved and given loans. So let's not
Agreed.
get
Hold
there.
on,
Yeah.
hold on. There
So
will be,
there will be,
Manisha, there will be issues, there will be things. But with all these regulations coming in, things are only going to get better.
double check with the bank.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do a
I think
double
it's
check with the
extremely
bank.
important for you to do that.
All right, okay. It didn't really happen as a slugfest. Okay, we both agreed to disagree on certain points. But Geeta, any closing arguments?
This is the time to buy, and India is the place to invest. It is for all the reasons we discussed. And real estate is the best asset class, no matter what. There is no denying that, especially in India with a population like that. So that would be my closing
Argument. I think we've summed it all up. Does anybody in the audience have a question that they would like to ask? Any of our panelists, please go ahead, one by one. I could see the gentleman in that bright blue shirt because it's such a nice color. I could spot him, nodding, etc. So.
It's just for the whole panelist because they were talking about the RERA. I don't care about TADA and all those stuff, but do they penalize the developer and do they lose the license? If those two things are not happening, then RERA is nothing but just another rules and regulation. And let me complete my question.
Yeah.
There has been rules and regulations in India since long time, but we are so innovative, we are so intelligent as Indians, we always find a way to, like what we call jugaad back in India. So unless those two things are not happening in RERA, but then again, it's just another rule and regulation.
Okay. Ravindra, do you want to answer that question? It's an important one. Can it be circumvented? Number one. I think that's his question. Number two, what does it really do? Will it actually nab a defaulting or a delaying developer? Does it have enough teeth to do it? So SEBI has done that for stock markets. Stock markets are very safe in India now. Will RERA do that for real estate?
Yeah, the framework of RERA is very strong, and it gives a lot of penal provisions where developer can be sent to jail. I'll give an example. It's been 5 months, RERA has been implemented, and in Bangalore only, there are almost 30 cases which have been registered, and action is being taken on it. So,
Yeah, in Maharashtra, it's functioning very well. So, state by state, I think.
all you need is a good lawyer who can explain you what the law is, and we can take you through the...
I don't think lawyers will start selling their business here, Ravinder. Come on.
Of course, you need to have a good lawyer.
I'm pulling your leg.
Can I add something from Bombay?
Yes, yes.
Well, my friend, I'll tell you something very interesting. In the 90s, Bombay was infested with gangsters. So there were special barracks which were built in the Arthur Road jail and the other jails around Bombay. Today, for the last 1.5, 2 years, RERA has just implemented from the 1st of May. But for the last 1.5 years, the number of builders who have gone behind bars, now they'll have to prepare a skyscraper. The builders will have to build a skyscraper, vertical tower, for housing all builders who have been put behind bars. The numbers of builders being arrested in Bombay is the highest in the country today. So the law has really taken a very iron-fisted role. And it is no joke. One buyer goes and files a complaint in the economic offences wing in Bombay. I'm talking about Bombay because we developed there and in Tamil Nadu and other places. But Bombay specifically is a fantastic case study in India. No developer, however powerful he is. I can't take names. Otherwise, the quality and the level of the developers who are languishing behind jails were people who have cut 1,000 crore single checks. So you can imagine whom I'm talking about. And they are behind bars for the last 1.5 years without a bail, which is a basic right of an Indian citizen. Even that has been denied. And the people have got the bail. After a month, they have been picked up back again, put behind bars. So it's a serious offense in the country today. You need to be rest assured on the justice of the country as on date.
Well, I would say the same is happening in NCR. Slowly and steadily, the big ones are being... In fact, we all know CCI penalized India's largest developer, right, for building. This was before RERA itself. I think the courts had... No, I mean, I would... Look, it hasn't been given enough time for us to become doubters yet. And there will be some issues, again, with implementation of RERA. Some states, it will work very well, like Maharashtra. The website was up on 1st May. The regulator, Gautam Chatterjee, is fabulous. In Madhya Pradesh, it's a smaller market. It works very well. But you know, the chief ministers are getting involved in it. The pressure to clean up real estate is very, very strong. So I think let's give it time before we turn skeptics on RERA. At least the framework and the rules for new projects which are going to get listed is 100%. It's only many states have diluted for ongoing projects which are stuck. I think there, any which way, rules can't be retrospective. Essentially, then courts are the only ones which can help you. And believe me, courts are taking a very strong stand. I mean, even Supreme Court is now taking very strong stand when it comes to home buyers stuck in delayed projects. So new projects, I think, I get that sense that you're pretty safe now in real estate. It's very much like SAVV. Yes, ma'am. We have a question from you. Why not? Yes.
Yeah, so it's a buzzword here in the UK at the moment that we need to build more affordable housing so that everyone could get into the property ladder. So I would like to know in India, what's the mood or the mindset in terms of an investment perspective for affordable housing, and maybe for people who would like to start their first investments abroad. So will affordable housing projects be a good way or a good opportunity to start off and to see how it progresses? And what sort of investment prospects you see that we could see in the affordable housing market?
So Rihanna, the problem is the most abused word in housing has become affordable housing. Because, you know, today as a journalist who specializes in this sector, I have no clue what the government means when it says affordable housing. Having said that, I think it could range from a price tag of 5 lakhs, and with the new increase in square meter area, that price tag now, even something which is 150 square meters is affordable housing, which is literally 1,600 or 1,700 square feet, Srini. So the parameter, but yes, affordable means it is definitely not for the rich and the famous. or for premium buyers. And I think depending on the city that would happen. But for the second part of the question, I'm going to hand over to Srini.
What was the second part of the question?
Affordable, the whole investment.
See, what do we interpret as affordable is something which where it's a pyramid, right? The maximum number of customers are at the bottom and then it moves towards the top. So everybody who are doing the executive class products have all come down, they have reduced their sizes, and because of all these regulations there has been an adjustment in the pricing as well. So if I have to say, in Bangalore, anything which is between 35 lakhs to 70 lakhs is affordable. If you go to Chennai, anything between 1 crore to 1.5 crores, and if you go to Mumbai, anything between 2.5 crores to 3 crores will be affordable. Now, there are a lot of SOPs which have been given for affordable housing. There is serious amount of funds, external money as well as domestic money, which are getting aggregated only for affordable sectors. And every fund or every money that is coming in have defined what affordability for them means. So that's how affordability is defined. There is serious amount of money which is going to come into this sector because these are the unmet demand for people. So there are products which are available at 7 lakhs as well, and those are the things which will really do extremely well. The auto rickshaw drivers, the taxi drivers, they are the people who would be investing in those. There are question marks on these, on affordability of them to complete the transaction. So they may pay 50,000 rupees as an advance, but whether they can carry through till the end, those are things to be seen because these are new in the system. But affordability is something which is going to remain. Every mandi, every downturn, we have spoken about downsizing the size of apartments, and then once we see things coming up, we again move up in the pyramid. So these are things which we'll have to wait and see.
From the questions that we get after every weekly show that we do, I can sense where the maximum pent-up demand is. I think you wanted to understand where the maximum pent-up demand is. So if I look at I slice the home loan market, right? So it pretty much matches the kind of questions we get. And 25 lakhs, depending on the city. So if you're in tier 2 towns, then it's 25 lakhs, going right up to 75, 80 lakhs in India, depending on the city. And in Mumbai, probably just crossing a crore will all be will be affordable or budget home. And the sweet spot is definitely the 40 to 50 lakh bracket for both home loan, people who are dispersing home loans, and for buyers. I mean, that particular market, if you can get a good product, you can pretty much not go wrong with the investment in that product. But then in 50 lakhs, you'll get nothing in Mumbai. So, you have to be a little bit careful of which city you're talking about. And why did you say Chennai is more expensive than Bangalore?
Chennai is definitely more expensive.
1 to 1.5 crores?
No, I said 1.5 crores for Chennai. If you are within the city,
You mean, no, so you're,
OMR.
okay, another slugfest with this man. I'm just wondering, how is Bangalore at 75 lakhs and Chennai at 1.5 crores? No, apple to apple, how can it be, Srini?
Apple to apple, you look at even Whitefield. What is the average price in Whitefield? 6,000 rupees to 7,000 rupees. You look at any place like Anna Nagar or...
Anna Nagar is not Whitefield. You have to go to OMR.
No, you look at OMR. Even in OMR, you have 7,500 to 8,000 rupees as the price
Even
points.
Geeta is like ganging up on that, so maybe I didn't get my prices right. I didn't.
So definitely,
I back off.
definitely Chennai is more expensive, much more than Bangalore.
Bangalore. Okay, land prices are higher than, okay.
I have lent both to developers and to buyers, both in India and in UK, State Bank of India. Of course, now I'm retired from what you can see. One of the main reasons why in UK, for example, people have given up the idea of buying a house is because it's gone far beyond their reach. I believe right now the age is about 35, whereas earlier it could be 23 to 25 when you could think in terms of buying a house. And then, that Bombay story of Paila Kohli, Baad mein Chokri, used to work here also. But that was a joke in Bombay in the good old days. I don't know if it's still there. Anyway, this business of having, a shelter for everybody, I think the whole world should give it up. US has tried that in the 1990s to middle of 2000, and landed itself in a crisis from which they are not able to recover even now. In UK, we keep hearing every day, if you switch on to LBC, anything, CNN for that matter, the only thing that you hear is that you're not getting enough land for construction of houses or even flats. The problem is the people cannot afford these flats or houses. All that you get in this country is 4.5 times your salary as a loan, and the fellows don't have deposits enough. And we probably will go the European way, where people will be happy to rent a house or a flat. The same thing will come to UK, and I'm sure even in India that's what it's going to be, because more people buy for investment, more people will rent. People should buy for staying in the flat or house, and if you want a person to stay in that flat or house, your prices should come down, not go up. I hope I'm clear on that point. The prices should come down. In the sense, there should be affordable. People should be in a position to buy them.
I think affordable supply will come up, but you're bang on. I think your analysis
right now
is
in India,
very
for
right.
example, we have flats vacant. Same thing in UK. In US, of course, people have stopped construction. So we probably, in India, we have that problem. It's not the question of not having enough flats. There are enough flats, but people can't buy them. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, I think...
Any answer for this or?
No, there's no answer. It's a great analysis. I think it's a great analysis.
Thank
do you want us to answer? It was more
Can I add on to
Yeah,
this?
please.
Can
That's what
Can I add on? Yeah. I think that's a very valid observation, and that's what is happening since last couple of years. If you really look at since 2011 to 2014, the sizes of flats kept on increasing to a level that we really, I would say, anybody who has even a budget of, 1 crore Indian rupees or 1.5 crore Indian rupees in Mumbai, he used to think I can't afford a flat there because the sizes went up. Now what has happened is since 2014, the builder has rationalized their sizes. So it's coming, the sizes are coming down to a level where people can really afford them. And I think what you were saying that, a lot of people are staying on rent, but they can't afford it because the sizes are so huge. And I think that's what is happening now. And, the size has been reduced. We have seen the projects where the sizes have been pruned and the ticket sizes around 86 to 1 crore in Mumbai are selling most as of now because there are a lot of people who are still staying on. I think the recent survey says around 30% of urban population is still staying on the rent. That means still there are so many people who want to buy their own house. So I think your point is very valid, and that's why builders are now cutting down the sizes and making it more optimized design. They're coming up with the same bedroom sizes, but they are reducing the other ancillary areas so that more people can afford to have their own house. So you're bang on that.
So I'll add a point to this. In cities like Mumbai, there are a lot of families, young couples, who don't have a first home, but they're buying a second home. What I mean to say by that is, they live on rent in the city, but they take a loan to buy a house in the outskirts. So that city, that outskirts after 15 years becomes a first home for them or somebody that they would like the house to be sold to. That's the new culture coming up. Secondly, furniture is becoming a new real estate in cities. So you can buy a 1 BHK and you have modern furniture coming up where the 1 BHK in the night becomes a 2 BHK. Your hall converts into a bedroom with latest sophisticated furniture which goes into the wall. It's not a new technology. It was there years back, started in the US, but now that's coming in a big way in real estate. So furniture is the new real estate, and secondly, the concept of owning the second home first before owning the first home. So you pay a rent, live close to your office place in the city like Mumbai or Delhi or Chennai or Bangalore, and on the outskirts you buy a house where you can afford to pay a rent in the city, pay an installment for that house, and you still own a home where psychologically you are comfortable that you have got your own house within the vicinity of that city. This is a new trend.
Okay, we're going to just take...
We did that in 1991. We bought a flat in Pune. That was a smart idea. Yes, so now that Pune, a flat of yours has become a first home because Pune is a developed city now. That's the objective.
Yeah. Can we just take one last question because I do think that we need to wrap it out. Okay, I'm not going to be the villain and choose one of the hands. Somebody, whoever can stand up first can answer.
So thanks for the opportunity for the last question. So me and some of the friends, we have invested through Asset India in India. The question is, what are the compliances in place for companies who are at par with Asset India or like Asset India, who can promote the properties from India into UK? Are there any compliances that govern such companies that, what we have is the right product? I know Asset India is governed, but
So you need to, Ravinder, I know that brokers in India are now covered under RERA, but
So-
what about international?
So asset as such is covered under RERA. So the same, so there is a regulation for the developers as well as for channel partners. So asset is registered under RERA in India.
absolutely.
So once that happens, so they are liable for a lot of stuff under RERA.
Exactly. So for example, Asset India is regulated.
Yes.
What about the others who are not
So yeah,
regulated?
the only people who are registered under RERA can sell Indian properties anywhere in the world.
Right.
So you should ask. I mean, I think
Yeah.
the basic question to ask if you're investing through a channel partner is, do you have a
Are
RERA
they?
registration? I think that's an important question to ask, and I'm glad you brought it up. We hadn't discussed it.
Right, and we as developers can't even pay brokerage to people who have, who are not RERA registered. So there is a compliance requirement from the developer side as well.
So is it safe to assume that any partner who is selling the properties for India from UK are regulated by RERA?
Don't assume that.
Don't assume.
Information of that agency would be on the website of the developer and the development.
Right, right. So that's
No, and all I can say is it is safer than what it was earlier, because earlier they were not even being covered under any of the regulation. Today at least they are covered under a regulation. So from that perspective, it is safer, but however, as I said, go back to the basics to look at the developer's track record.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thanks to all my panelists for giving us this time, and of course, for giving us insights on real estate buying into India. Thank you for being a lovely audience. I must say, it's been a pleasure being here and having this discussion in front of all of you. Seems that you're keen participants in India's real estate story and India's economic growth, and let's all keep our fingers crossed for that country.